Today let's talk about a transitional cheek elbow. That's where one end of your elbow is at one measurement and the other end is at a smaller measurement. It's transitional, and it's just a cheek that's changing, that's transitioning in size. The height is staying the same. If we were dropping our height, it would also, that would be called a transitional drop cheek elbow. But we're just doing a transitional elbow, or transitional cheek elbow. The only thing we're changing is the cheek. If you want to know how to build one of these transitional cheek elbows, stay tuned and I'll show you the step-by-step process. Okay, we start by scribing a line down here, which we've already got. And we're going to go ahead and scribe our other working line right here. And then right here in our intersection, we're going to give us a pivot point. And we want a 6-inch radius throat. So from this working line, we go up 6 inches. Go ahead and back it up a 1/4 inch. Go ahead and get our flange ready. Go in. There. We come over here and we put our 6-inch in right there. 6-inch on our working line. 6-inch. Back that up a 1/4 inch, which would be 5 3/4 inches. And that gives us our flange for our throat. All right, after we got our marks established for the throat, take our dividers and we get them on. Measure them out. All right. So we scribe a mark. There. Go up here and we get our mark on the other line. And we scribe that mark. And we got our throat. Got our throat. Okay. So because we're building a transitional cheek, that means we're going to have one side is going to be wider and we're going to transition down to a smaller size on the other end. So this is going to be a 10-inch transitioning down to an 8-inch. So we start right here on our mark from our throat. 10 inches. We scribe a mark. That's our opening, 10 inches. Add a 1/4 inch to that. That gives us our flange. Now this side, we're going to go down. Remember, we're transitioning down to 8 inches. So we're going to set our ruler on 8 inch. Scribe a mark. And then we're going to add a 1/4 inch. Scribe a mark. Okay. Because we're dealing with 2 different sizes, we got to find our swing center for our arc. So we do that by going back to this pivot point, measuring out to the smaller end of your fitting, which is going to be our 8 inch end. Sometimes these dividers, man, can be a pain. All right, right there. Okay. So we got that measurement from this pivot point to our small end measurement. And what we do is that we come up here to our large end measurement and we put one end on that mark, and we come down here, make sure we're still on our mark. We come down here and we scribe a line right there, and that's our new center swing line. So now we add another pivot point right there. And remember, just like our square throat radius, we got that imaginary line coming across here. This is our stopping point. So this, from this point to that point, is going to be a straight line. Because once our arc starts coming in, we're going to be off. So your imaginary line is here. All right, so we go ahead and we'll start there. Correct? So here we go. And right about there. Okay, so we got a mark scribed. Now we need to do our outlet side. So we get our divider set for our outlet, or for our outside flange area, and we do the same thing. Hold it back here in the pivot, swing an arc. The metal's wanting to slide with me. Swing your arc. Get down there to the point where it starts to get to that imaginary line. All right. You take your ruler and you finish out your marks. There you go. There's your layout for your transitional cheek, 10" to 8". Take my aviation snips and I'm going to cut using my red handles because they're going to cut to the left and cut this section out, and then I'm going to cut that section out. And remember, always cut on the outside line. This is your flange right here. Now, go outside here. Got our 10" down to 8". Go ahead and do the prep work as far as doing the notching. Seem to be having difficulties on that corner. Wow, man. Okay. So we come in here and we notch out our pieces. Alright, now we need to get our Easy-edger over there set up and roll these edges for our flanges on our Pittsburgh. Alright, so you take your pattern. Of course, we marked it because we want to make sure we got to build opposite sides, so we don't want to get confused. We don't want to make two tops or two bottoms. We got a groove right here. We put our piece of our flange in that groove, and we fold the metal over, and it gives us this little bend. I don't know if you can see that very well. Gives us a bend, and that's what we put in our edger. That gets us started. Slip it in there just like that. trying to keep that roller on the edge. And if I keep a straight line, we'll be all right. There we go. We got a nice smooth edge, no flat places. Still got a good radius on it. A good flange all the way around. Should slip in our Pittsburgh pretty easy. Now I gotta turn this one, and I'll be back with you shortly. Okay, I went ahead and rolled that edge. Since you already seen how to do the longer side, I went ahead and did the short side. No flat places. Looks like a pretty good radius. See right there, we got flange to insert into our Pittsburgh. So now we got to make another piece like this one, only opposite. We need a top and a bottom. So we'll go ahead and we'll get started on that. So went ahead and made the other side and flip it over. We got a top and a bottom. Got our rolled edges there on that one. So we're ready to go. All we need now is to lay out our throat and our heel. Alright, I went ahead and took my measurements on my heel and throat with my circumference ruler, bends like that, and I got my measurement, and it was 24 3/16, plus I got to add 2 inches because I'm not measuring to the edge. I'm actually measuring from these cuts here and this cut here, so I have to add 1 inch and 1 inch, so I have to add 2 inches after my measurement. So my total heel length is 26 3/16, and my total throat length is 11 1/4 inches. I've already went ahead and cut those pieces out, and we'll go ahead and we'll scribe them and notch them, and then run them through the Pittsburgh machine. This transition elbow is going to be 8 inches in height. So my fabricating height for my metal is 10, because the Pittsburgh takes up 1 inch. So it's going to reduce each side of 1 inch, which will give me 8 inches, which is what I'm looking for. So these are my Pittsburgh pieces, and these are going to be my dry pieces. Same thing here. Go ahead and scribe out our 1-inch mark. Let's go ahead and start notching. We want to cut out these corner squares right here. And don't worry about doing your 1/2-inch cut just yet, because we're going to have to clean it up after we run it through the Pittsburgh machine over there. Okay, all notched out, ready to move over to the Pittsburgh machine now. So our Pittsburgh side, we're going to shrink that down 1 inch on each end. That's going to leave us 8 inches in height. Here we go. Let the machine do the work. All you got to do is just hold it up against the bar right there. The machine will pull it through for you. Now we got those Pittsburghs in there. Our flange will drop down in that, and our little flap will fold over, lock it all in place. Only thing we have to do right now is clean it up. We take our, I call them bulldogs, we take our short mini aviation snips here. We cut through the Pittsburgh seam. On our 1 inch mark that we have there. Like so. And we got a little bit of a roll. Metal rolled a little bit. Straighten it back up and we get it. There. ahead and we cut these out. Like so. And put our little corner cut on there. Alright, so there's our heel and there's our throat. Next step is, gotta go over there to the roller machine and put a radius in them. You guys seen this rolling machine before. We take this piece of metal, our heel and throat, and we stick it in here and it bends it and it gives us a radius. And then we may have to do some adjusting on it. So for the heel, we want to bend our radius with the Pittsburgh seams in or up. So we're going to run it through there with our Pittsburgh seam up. And that's dry fit it to our radius here. Kind of a little much, so we'll straighten her out some. And you just have to play with it a little bit. And remember, we got a straight on our short end, we got straight. May have to roll that back through. I've bent it too much in the center. Not a problem, just run it back through. I just have to straighten out the ends again. Straighten out the ends a little bit. And not so much in the center like I did the first time. Oh yeah, that's much closer. Much closer. A little more straighter on the ends. Yeah, I think we can make that work. Close enough. Okay. Now, same thing on our throat. Our throat, we've got to do our radius the opposite way. So our Pittsburgh's seams are going to be pointed down, but I got to clean this up because I forgot to do it earlier. Getting ahead of myself. Okay, as I was saying, after you clean it up, the Pittsburgh seams on this throat side have to go down. So here we need a little bit more in the center. Hey, that looks pretty fine right there, man. I think that'll work. The throat come out better than the heel did. So this piece is what gets our S drives, our S locks, and this piece is what gets our drives. So these have got to be folded backwards. So we come over here to our cleat bender, and we bend those cleats in here. Get those cleats bent in. And I know I'm supposed to raise the other handle up, but it's a small piece of metal. I can work it like this just as easy as lifting that other handle up. There it is. Heel and throat. All right, ready to be assembled. There it is, transitional elbow, 10 inch down to 8 inch, 8 inches in diameter or in height. It'll be mounted like this. So that's 8 inches, 10 inches this way, entering, exiting at 8. Transitional cheek elbow. 10, 8.